Hi everyone, I'm Kathy and this is Kathy's Vegan Kitchen. Today we're going to make kimchi fried rice, but I want to do something a little different and I'd like to add some kimchi tofu to the top of the fried rice. So we're going to start with my favorite tofu. I buy it at Trader Joe's. They also sell this type at Whole Foods. It's super firm, which is above extra firm, which means it doesn't need to be pressed. It's still wet, but it doesn't need to be pressed. So it's just easier to use and you don't have to use the tofu press. For those of you who are unfamiliar with working with tofu, if you do buy just the regular firm or extra firm tofu, you need to press it in a tofu press. Or you can even wrap it in paper towels and you can stick a book on top of it. But I like this little tofu press. But I bought the kind that you don't have to press to make it easier and to skip a step today. So I'm going to remove the tofu from the package. And you want to discard any of the fluid. Then I'm going to take a paper towel and just dry off the outside of it. And place it on a cutting board. Now, if I was going to grill this tofu, I would slice it in the middle and I would slice both sides in the middle and I would marinate this and I would grill it on the grill. But I'm going to do it in the air fryer and I want little pieces that are in, little square shapes that I'm going to air fry that go on top of the kimchi fried rice. So you want to cut your tofu into the same size pieces. Okay, so we have little cubes that we're going to end up using to put on top of the fried rice. Now, all kimchi is not vegan. All kimchi is not hot. It comes in mild, medium, and hot. So you pick your spice. This is just regular. It is vegan, and it says right at the top, vegan. What makes kimchi not vegan is sometimes they put fish sauce in it. So you need to look in the back of the ingredients just to make sure. This one just has cabbage, green onion, sea vegetable, chili pepper, sea salt, sesame seeds, and garlic and ginger. So I didn't actually use any of the kimchi for the marinade. Instead, I took juice from this and put it into here. So I forgot my container. Hold on. You need a refrigerator safe container. And I have a 1/4 cup of the juice from the kimchi. I have 1/8 cup of soy sauce. I have 1 inch of fresh ginger. And I have 2 tablespoons of rice vinegar. 4 ingredients, that's it. You're just going to stir it all together. And then you're going to put the tofu pieces inside. Then you put the top on and you shake it all around so the tofu gets covered in the marinade. Now, I like to marinate overnight. When you marinate overnight, there's not much left inside here in terms of marinade. At least a couple of hours, but we're going to wait 24 hours and we're going to make this tomorrow with kimchi fried rice. See you tomorrow. The kimchi tofu has marinated overnight and you'll notice there's no marinade left in it. It's all soaked up in here. That's why I like to do it for 24 hours. I'm going to put the tofu onto the air fryer pan. You want it in a single layer. If you have a smaller air fryer, like a round one, you want to cook it in single layers and you might have to cook it in batches. I have a big one. You also want to flip it over halfway through cooking. It takes 15 minutes at 375 in the air fryer or 350 for a half an hour in the oven. but I'm going to do it in the air fryer today. You can also grill the tofu. There's directions in the recipe for that if you choose to do that. I don't have to flip my tofu over because my pan is vented, which means it cooks underneath as well. So I'm going to pop this into the air fryer for 15 minutes, and then we're going to start cooking the kimchi fried rice. While the tofu is cooking, we want to heat our wok first. You want the wok to be hot. You can also use a deep skillet if you don't have a wok. All right, let's look at our ingredients. The key to good fried rice that isn't soggy is cooked cold rice. You want to cook it and put it in the refrigerator, and it should be cold. That way it doesn't get mushy and overcooked. So we're going to start with 2 cloves of garlic that I minced, and that's going to go into the wok. I also have an inch of ginger, fresh ginger that's minced, and we're going to put these onions in here, a 1/2 cup of white onion. Now, I also have a 1/2 cup of green onions, but I'm only going to put half in because the other half is going to be used for garnish. Then we're going to move that around a little bit, and we're going to add the mushrooms. This is 8 ounces of sliced mushrooms. You can use the baby Bella mushrooms. They only had cremini ones today, so I picked those. If for some reason your veggies stick a little bit on the bottom, all you have to do, I always keep it on reserve, a little water or a tiny little bit. You don't want a lot of vegetable broth. And as you can see, it releases all the sticking. And the mushrooms have a lot of liquid in them. So they're going to release more liquid as well as the onions. So we should be good right now. You're going to cook this for about 3 minutes until your mushrooms and onions become translucent. Your mushrooms are a little brown. Now, we're going to let that sit a little bit. I mean, this whole dish takes 15 minutes total, not even, from start to finish. And the beauty of it, except for the tofu, is it all happens in one pan, which means you only have to clean up one pan. Less cleanup, the better. Okay, let's look at the rest of the ingredients here. We have asparagus. Asparagus takes longer to cook than the rest of the vegetables. You don't want to overcook the vegetables. So we're going to cook in stages or in layers. So we're going to put this asparagus in here, get all the little pieces. And again, we're going to let this move around. You want to make sure your asparagus is cooked so it's not too tough when you bite into it. And we're going to move that around a little bit more. Also, the key to stir fry as well as fried rice is not just the cold rice. You don't put any sauce in until you're like right before you're done. If you cook the vegetables in a sauce, it makes them all soggy, and then it just isn't the same as if you don't cook it with any sauce until the end. Okay, the asparagus is starting to get a little tender. Now I'm going to add a 1/2 cup of red bell pepper, again cut into bite-sized pieces. Gonna move that around a little bit. The carrots, because they're shredded, they don't take much time to cook at all. So we're gonna put those in next. And look at all the beautiful colors, okay? You have the rainbow inside the wok. Now, asparagus, for instance, is typically not in a stir fry, like Korean or an Asian stir fry, but I like asparagus, and there's no rules. So you can put in any kind of vegetables you want. I'm a big broccoli fan too, but I decided to use asparagus as my green one today. Now, we have 2 jalapeños. I took out the seeds and I took out the veins and I chopped them. Make sure that you wear gloves when you do that, or if you have contacts, you touch your eye later. Not a pretty experience. Trust me, I've done it before. We're going to put those in there. If you do not like spicy, skip the jalapeno. You don't have to put in items that you don't like, or if you're worried about spice, don't worry about it. Just leave it out. Okay, and as you notice, nothing is sticking to the bottom of my pan. So I had maybe a teaspoon or two of vegetable broth. Now, we're going to add a cup and a half of kimchi. I took the kimchi out of the container and I squeezed it out because you don't want too much fluid, and then I chopped it finely. Some of the pieces in the kimchi container are big, so you want to make sure they're bite-sized, so I chopped them up. Again, choose the level of spice you want in your kimchi. Now, because the kimchi is slightly wet, this is also going to give more hydration to your vegetables in here. All right, now we're going to add the cold rice. It's cold, literally. I cooked it yesterday. I stuck it into the refrigerator covered. See how it's sticky? It's supposed to be like that. It's brown rice. You can use long grain or short grain. It makes no difference. So now all we're doing at this point is reheating this rice, and you can see it's falling apart because it's connected with the kimchi and the other vegetables. And you just want to heat it through. You don't want to re-cook it. We're talking like a minute or two. Now, last but not least, I have a 1/4 cup of soy sauce. You can use tamari or liquid aminos if you want to use gluten-free. We're going to pour this over the top. I'm turning the heat off. You can hear the heat stop. And we have a 1/4 cup of that kimchi juice that I took from the kimchi that I squeezed. We're going to toss this around. Oh, it smells so good. Doesn't it smell good? Mm-hmm. All right, now I'm going to go grab my tofu. Tofu is an optional item. You don't have to use the tofu. I like to add it, but this dish is great without it. And as you can see, it's all crispy. I didn't put cornstarch on it. I didn't put oil on it. And you have crispy tofu. It's not soggy. It's nice and crispy. And we're going to add that right into the kimchi fried rice. Whoops. Dropped a couple pieces. Gotta get it all in there. And it's hot. All right. Now, we're going to stir this again one more time. That tofu is hot and delicious. Alexa, off. Then, we're going to dish it up. I'm going to take spoonfuls of all of this wonderful yum. And we're going to top it with some green onions. And then I have a sheet of seaweed paper that I crumbled in the food processor. I'm going to sprinkle a little over the top. And you're going to squeeze it with a lime that you're going to serve on the side. And don't forget the chopsticks. And here is kimchi fried rice. I hope you enjoy it. Subscribe to my channel, and there will be more recipes to come. See you next time.